Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me every Saturday on Right with VR. And today we have a very special guest. She's someone who has written a number of travel blogs. She writes the blogs, and her husband helps her edit and foresee any kind of facts and figures related issues and fix that before they publish the blog. She says that she calls herself a globetrotter, though she has traveled only to 6 countries. That's what she says to me. She's someone who has attained the status of distinguished Toastmaster in Toastmasters. And for those who do not know about Toastmasters, it is a beautiful forum to enhance your public speaking skills, not by listening to lectures, but by practice. And she is someone who has attained one of the highest levels that someone can attain at Toastmasters, which is called the Distinguished Toastmaster, which is like a title that's given to someone who has completed a certain number of speeches and also served certain leadership roles. Uh, she says that the travel blog is where she quenches her thirst for writing. And I have known her since maybe a couple of decades because we studied at the same school. Uh, I remember meeting her when we were in the seventh grade when we went for a field trip. Again, there also we were we happened to got get to know each other when we were traveling. Uh, so without any further delay, I would also break another secret. I don't know if she still does it, but she's someone who knows how to play Veena. So that's another interesting point about our special guest today. I'm very happy to welcome Preethi Jayapal to today's Right with VR session. Thank you so much for accepting our invite and being here, Preethi.
The pleasure is mine, Balaji. Thank you so much for trusting us and having us and listening to what we have to say. But unfortunately, my husband couldn't join us today because of an emergency in the family. So I hope I'll cover for the both of us today. And thank you so much for having us once again.
We understand. Thank you so much for being here once again. Now, let's start with a couple of questions that I have for you, and then we will take some questions from our audience as well. Uh, the first thing that I would like to ask you is who or what inspired you to write? You just said you quench your thirst for writing through this, but then why did you want to write?
Okay, so it was the late 1990s. I was probably 7 or 8 back then when my grandpa used to have a typewriter at his house. Uh, so you know how there will be a phase where our curiosity is at its peak. I was at that phase,
Mhm.
and the perfect excuse to use the typewriter was writing. So there began my writing journey. But my tata is actually a very sincere man. And he would say, Kana, whatever you write, at the end of the day, you have to show it to me. So I still vividly remember how my grandpa used to review the scribbles of a 7-year-old, and he used to give this critical feedback. And I won't say that he's my inspiration, but he's definitely the person who woke up the writer in me. Now, during my school days, my writing was restricted to the annual essay writing or the oratorical competition, which again eventually ended when we all went to the high school. And I going to the same school, I think Balaji would vouch with me when I say that academics was given the first preference and only then comes everything. So yeah, there my writing journey took a brief pause. Now let's fast forward to the day to when I joined my profession at Oracle, which is where I got introduced to this beautiful forum called Toastmasters. Now, we all know that Toastmasters is publicized as a forum for public speaking, but it is also where I got to fine tune my writing skills. As you go through the program, you will learn how to write a beautiful speech. You will learn how a speech should have a proper opening, a body, and a conclusion. You will also learn how you should restrict your body to only one or two main points. And then you'll only support those two main points with facts, personal experiences, examples, stories, etc. So thanks to Toastmasters, I I had my reality check, and I guess my writing skills got fine-tuned only because I passed through that program. Now let's come to the birth story of a blog. I definitely had no idea about blogging until the day I met this person again via Toastmasters. Her name is Megla. She used to come and tell me, Preeti, you should publish your speeches in a blog. And I said, okay. And then I never did that. I kept procrastinating it. So if you know me a little closely, you would know how much guilty I feel to say no, or if I've not kept to my word, I'll feel so guilty. So I didn't want that to happen again. And that's when I started copy pasting my speeches into a blog. So that's how I started blogging. But coming to the actual our travel blog, Infinite Footsteps. So I got married to the love of my life, and my husband is someone who believes in independent travel. So what he thinks is that if we book a trip through a travel agent, we will not get exposed to the local culture or people. When we do independent travel, when you plan things by yourself, your interaction with the locals and their culture will be maximized. To get from one place to another, you tend to take public transport, you tend to ask them where the bus will come and go, and stuff like that. So we wanted experiences like that. But having said that, you require a lot of planning before you go on the trip. And my husband relies on travel blogs for the same. Now, we went on our first trip together, which we planned it completely by ourselves, and we were mind blown. The experience itself was enriching. So that is when me and my husband decided that we should expose everyone to such kind of travel. And trust me when I say this, independent travel is definitely budget friendly and cost effective compared to when you do the same thing with a travel agent. So we thought, why not expose our friends or everyone we know to independent and cost effective travel? And there is the birth of our travel blog, which is Infinite Footsteps, with the only intent of telling everyone that independent travel is indeed possible. So I think I've summed up my writing journey and the birth of a blog in that.
Indeed, indeed, you did, Preeti. So I could see an opening body and a conclusion in your answer as well, like how it started, right from your child at different stages of your life. How did you get into writing or take a pause from writing? Thank you so much. Uh, well, Preeti, so my next question is, what were the teething troubles that you had when it comes to writing, particularly when it comes to your blog?
Okay, so the first problem that I had, and I think I still have, is that when I write about something personal, I would ace it. So if it's going to be a personal story from my life, if it's going to be a personal experience that I'm going to write about, I would have no trouble doing that. But if you give me a general topic, say global warming, or how the climatic change is affecting our life, I won't be able to do a pretty good job. So that is something that I'm still working on. I still need to learn how to write or ace general topics as well. So that is my first problem. I've never found a solution to overcome that. If I do, I'll definitely share with you too. And the second thing that I face is that I find myself falling into this monotonous trap. So if I write a post, the next two, three posts unknowingly would also be in the same style. For instance, I'll unknowingly use the same words that I used in my current post, or the transitions that I have. So everything will be the same or similar, which tend to make things boring. So that is something that I consciously try to come out of. So the one thing that has helped me is referring to the thesaurus for different words or for using words that I'm not comfortable with. So that is the second problem that I face, and I'll consciously try to come out of that. And the third thing as a writer I face, and I hope that other writers face too, is something called as the writer's block. So as vivid as we try to keep things, that's when the problem starts. So you write and you delete and you write and you delete, thinking that it's not vivid enough, it's not descriptive enough. So when I experience that, what I do is I close my writing, I take a day or two break, and then I write after that, giving it a fresh start so that things will start flowing again. So that is something that I face. And the final problem, I think this is very specific to our travel blog, is usually we start writing our travel blogs a month after our trip, because it usually takes a week or two to settle into a normal routine. And by the time we start writing, we then remember that we have forgotten everything, like we are blank. So that happened for our first trip. So after that, what we started doing was that we carry a small notebook, and at the end of the day, we journal everything in that before we go to sleep. So that way we have our data safe, and when we write our blog, we'll refer to that, and that has helped us a lot. So these are the four problems that I face, and then this is how I overcome that.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing how you overcame the challenges that you faced when you were writing. I would, as a teacher, I couldn't help myself but think about to what extent should someone worry about the repetitiveness, or to what extent should somebody, beat themselves up over, like, is it good enough or not, and repeatedly reading and feeling that what they have written is not good enough. And in most cases, as far as I know, a lot of writers don't feel that what they have done is good enough. So uh, ha- I it's not even I want to ask how do you deal with it, but what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so as a writer, my main motive is that the person who reads my content should get a mental image of what I was experiencing. So that is when the problem comes. If I'm not using the right words, if I'm not using the right words that describes the view that I saw, then I'm not happy about what I wrote. I keep re-editing it till I get to that actual thing. So till I am satisfied that my reader is going to get that view when he reads it, I'll beat myself over it. But what I would say is that if at all I find myself in that situation, I'll give it to someone else, and a fresh pair of eyes has always helped. So when we are stuck, our mind is in a loop, and we tend to not come out of that box by ourselves, and we always need that push from someone else. So I'd suggest the same thing. Give your speech to your family member or a friend, and tell them that you're stuck here, and a fresh pair of eyes will always help. And that has helped me come out of such blocks, actually.
Great. Thank you so much for letting us know about that, Preeti. I think uh, out of the number of guests we have had at Write with VR, all the writers have said the same thing, that it is good to have another pair of eyes look at what you have written, so that they get to see what you don't see. It ranges from monotony to spelling errors, because we by default read it correctly, though there is an error. That
I agree with that. Yeah.
wonderful. Great. Thank you so much. My next question for you is, how do you work on, or how do you take care of any copyright related issues when you publish your blog?
Okay. So actually, we have never faced it, because all the media that we use in your site is our own. So the photos that we take in our trip, that only we publish in our site. We don't use media from outside. So I think as long as you're not using other people's pictures or music, you're fine. You don't have to worry about it. And even the content that we write is again from our personal experience. So the only copy paste that we do is when we have to put references to other websites. So we've not actually worried about any copyright issues that we will end up with because of this reason. Now, if you want to use media from outside, I know that there are a lot of copyright free media that is available on the internet. So even if you want to use other sources of media, you should check for copyright free media that is available. If not, you're good to go. Yeah, I think as long as you are using your own material, you don't have to worry about this.
Great. Thank you for letting us know. Yeah, I think most of the time it is advisable to rely on what we use, and as you mentioned, uh, we can look for the copyright-free materials online if needed. Um,
Yes.
okay, you mentioned about helping people to get the view of what you have seen, and I could feel that uh, I was along with you the 18 days with the 18-year-old, managing the things, and I could see how you would use a rice cooker to, handle the needs of the child and at the same time enjoy the beauty of nature in Vietnam. And how did you take a long trek to the peak at one of the volcanoes in Sri Lanka and so on. It is every blog of yours that I have read, I have felt like I am at that place. So you do give a very vivid picture through your blogs. The the next thing that I would like to talk about is how do you work on the visibility for your blog? Now, you want to reach people, and that is one of the reasons why you're writing. But how do you reach people, and how do you know if you're reaching?
Yes. So that's a very tricky question because, to be very honest, our blog is also in its initial phase. We are also taking baby steps in this aspect. So I'll share from our experience. So the first thing that has worked really well for us is word of mouth publicity. So what I do is every time I write a new blog post, I put it in my WhatsApp status, and then I see my friends sharing it with their friends, my family also putting it in their status, and then people getting to know about it. So that has really worked well. So I think for everyone, that is actually the start phase. So what you can do is you can publish your work through social media. That will actually give you that initial push that you're looking for. The second thing that has worked for us is cross mentions across various social media platforms. And what I mean by that is you will be in Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and everywhere. So what you can do is you can publish your post there as well, so that people who are coming to your Facebook, to your Instagram, will know that you have something up in your website, and you will direct the traffic to your website that way. So that is something that has worked for us. And the third thing is, if you have money, then definitely you can do wonders right now. So the limit is how much you're willing to spend. So there is this huge concept of digital marketing, and I'm no expert because I've not experienced that and we have not used that yet. So if you're willing to spend, then I guess that's there's a very good way of marketing it. If you pay money, Google or Instagram or Facebook itself will promote your content to a wider range of audience. I know that you can target it to which age group, to which gender of people you want this post to be marketed to, and you can do that if you're willing to do it. So that's the third thing that you might want to look into, which is digital marketing. We have not done that yet, so I'm no expert there, and that's why I can't share more about that. So yeah.
Great. Thank you for sharing that, Preeti. Apart from sharing your blog on their status or with their friends, what are the other ways in which your friends, family, or acquaintances have helped you with your in your writing journey?
Yeah, so as I've mentioned, my grandpa, my late grandfather, is my huge support. So every time that I skip Toastmasters, or every time he feels that I'm not giving speeches, he's always there in the back of my mind, or he's always a call away. He'll tell me, Kana, where are you? Did you give your next speech? What happened there? And so that is the push that I always want in my life. And I am someone who would do anything if someone motivates me a little bit. So he's been there doing that backstage. Likewise, whenever we share a blog post, there are the set of friends or family members who always comes back with their feedback. They'll say, okay, this is good, these are the things that you need to improve. And there are also people who have come and told, I've been waiting for this blog post, I've been waiting for this itinerary, thank you so much for sharing, I've been waiting for this tip, you've given it to us, thank you so much. So there were such sweet messages, and I guess only that keeps us going. The tremendous interest from our local circle of friends, though I say it is limited to like 50s or so right now, but that's constantly there. Like for everything that we put, we get that minimum number of responses. So I guess that is what we need, that is what keeps us going, the support and interest that our inner circle of friends and family gives us. So yeah.
Wonderful. Great to know about it, because alone we don't reach anywhere. So it's wonderful to know how you take help and how people offer help to you. Well, Preethi, thank you so much for answering all our questions patiently and in a very detailed manner. Yet we are well within time. So let's take some questions from our audience as well before we wrap and get into the writing session for our participants. So Rahul, Archana, Ram, and anyone else who is here, if you have any questions, please, you can unmute and ask.
Thanks, Balaji. It's actually a very wonderful session. I'm liking it. So my question is very basic, that people who are starting their blog or who have written one or two blogs, how they can get their content ideas, or like what all are few of the ways in which they can get their ideas to, to develop it into a blog, full-fledged blog. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Rahul. So to answer that, since ours is a travel blog, what I do is I would focus on everything that we've experienced in our recent trip. So I won't put everything in one blog so that I'll run out of content right after I come from a single trip, because I know how difficult it is to go on trip with a full-time job. So what I do is I split my content. So if I had went on a trip, I won't put everything in one blog. I'll say pre-planning in one thing, then itinerary in another thing, and just one place in one blog, so that I'll at least have 20 to 30 blog posts in pipeline with just one single trip. So what I can recommend is, in a blog post, try to focus on only one or two main points. We all know that we are in the digital media where everybody is interested in quick things, like they are interested in 5-minute videos, they are interested in very short passages. So the more detail we put something, I feel that people tend to lose their interest. So keep everything short and crisp, and just put one or two main points in one blog, so that you will have more blogs for a particular content. And if not a travel blog, what I would be blogging about is to look in your life. I know, if someone said that to me, I would say my life is boring, I have nothing to write about from my life. But trust me, every single thing, if you look it in depth, like while crossing a road, you would have seen someone helping someone else, or while going on a bus, we tend to see a lot of people. We tend to observe things. So what I learned from Toastmasters is that you maintain a journal of what happened in your day. you try to record every information in that, and when you want to write a blog, you go back and you refer to that journal, and I'm pretty sure you'll find something to write about. So my advice is that start looking into your life for blog ideas, and I'm pretty sure you'll get some. I
Sure.
hope I helped you.
Sure.
I
Sure.
think,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Thanks. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much for that question, Rahul. And I think we got a
Yeah.
beautiful answer. Ram, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Balaji, for organizing this. First of all, I think every time you do something like this, it's rich in experience for us. And thank you, Preethi, for sharing this very beautiful.
You have muted.
Too. You're able to hear me? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, Preethi, my question to you is, of course, one of them was, other than travel blogs, what other genres would you be focusing on? I think you gave some ideas around that already, right? Journal and look at things happening in real life. The other thing I want to ask you is, what was the objective with which you started writing the blog? Because that needs to keep you going, right? So in your case, for example, was it because you wanted to record it for future reference, call back later and cherish those memories, or was it to help others? I think that was one of the things that you mentioned, right? People could benefit from your itinerary, your experiences, and plan it similarly. Or thirdly, was monetizing it also a big way? Because I do understand that it's not very easy to monetize, right? If you write a blog, it's unless you have like a huge number of followers or whatever. I mean, obviously it comes much further down the line, but what was the objective that you started with
yes.
that keeps you going?
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Ram, for that wonderful question. So the main intent that me and my husband started this blog was to expose people to independent travel. And as I said earlier, independent travel is no easy task. So if you prefer a travel agent, you just have to tell them, okay, I'm going to Bali 4 nights, 5 days, and you pay the money, and that's it. You don't have to worry about it. They are doing everything for you. But if you're opting for independent travel, you'll have to sit and think, okay, where am I day one? Where am I day two? How am I going from place A to place B on day three? So where am I going to stay? So there are a lot of questions that you'll have to get answers to. And that is where we try to pitch in. So out of our experience, we try to share what kind of public transport is available in a place that we went to, or how you can do internal transfers there. So that is the whole intent. We would want to expose the fact that independent travel is possible. And the other intent is that if we have done that hard work of pre-planning so many things, the others that who read our blog shouldn't spend the same time to pre-plan. So we want to give all those tidbits, so that if we had spent 10 days pre-planning for our independent travel, the person who reads our blog should do it in 3 or 4 days. It should aid in their pre-planning phase. So that's the second motive that we have to write our travel blogs. So this is our main intent. And as you said, it definitely serves as a memory. So 10 years down the lane, when we sit and then we read all this, it is going to serve as a memory, and it is going to take us back to those days. So that is definitely there. And thinking about monetizing it, I'm not worried about it now, because both of us have full-time jobs, and we are okay with that. But it would help if our blog is making money, in which case, if that becomes a primary source of income someday, and we both of us don't have to work, that means we get more time to travel. So that looks like a fun option too, but it's not in our mind right now. But if it gets there, then we are not going to say no. We are happy about it. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if and when it gets to that place, like you said, it allows more travel, and then the cycle just becomes so much more. What do you say? You travel more, you write more, and then that spiral continues. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah,
Thank
it answered
you.
my question. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for that question, Ram. I think Preethi's answer tells us why her blog is quite successful. And when I say successful, I don't mean like reaching maximum people or monetizing it, but the purpose is very clear when she talks about it. So, and I'm very much certain, as a person who has read the blog, I'm very certain that it does serve the purpose. So wonderful. So do we have any questions? And maybe we can take one more if there is any question. Oh, yes,
Hi,
Archana.
Preethi.
Go ahead.
I would like to know if someone is ready to start a new blog on travel. I mean, new travel blog. What would be the topic of interest? And I mean, what would the audience like actually? You have already written about independent travel, and many people would have written about various traveling aspects and all. So I'm curious to know what will be the. I mean, what are people looking for actually? And can you please tell me which was your favorite place in India?
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Archana, for that question. From my experience, I would say that people are very much interested in the itinerary. So wherever we go, the DMs that I get the most asked one is, how did you plan? So what are you doing? Which date? So tell us more about your itinerary. So I guess that is the most wanted hot topic whenever we go somewhere. To answer your second question, yes, there are like lot of travel blogs out there, and to be honest, what me and my husband feel is that if you go somewhere, you won't be able to experience everything. So if we go to Vietnam, we can't cover everything in the limited number of days, and there are of course gaps. So what we try to do is we try to refer to other blogs who have filled in those gaps, and we try to give references to that, so that the reader gets a holistic experience. So it's not just what we experienced. We would want them to also know about what we missed, so that they get a holistic view of what is there, and then they can decide based on that. So did I answer your question?
Yeah. Thank you very much. But can you add one more? I was just looking for another thing. Like, okay, suppose if I'm traveling a new travel blog, like what would make it more interesting? Like, what are people looking for actually? That is what.
Okay.
Like independent, as you said, you came up with something innovative like independent travel, and
Yeah. So what would make a travel blog interesting is to do something unique. With that, it's actually quite difficult, because with the age of Instagram, where travel has become like the new trend, so doing something unique is actually difficult. But uh, I think you can try to do something unique, and then include that. By unique, I know I'm sounding very broad. Even I can't think about it on the spot now. But people are looking for something different. So right now, the trend that I see on Instagram is that they're putting what we see on Instagram versus reality in a travel place. So that is going viral now. So something like that. You might want to think about how different or what different you can do in a place. Or the other thing that people are interested in is those offbeat places, the places which everyone goes, they are not interested about, the places that are rare, that no one knows about. So that is the hot topic right now. So if you're going to offbeat places, if you're searching for that, if you're searching for less touristy places and you're visiting it and you're writing about it in a blog or making a reel about it on Instagram, then it will definitely go viral because people are looking for offbeat places. That is something that I know. So these are the two things that you can try
Yeah,
for.
yeah. Thank you so much. It was very nice. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you for organizing.
Well, thank you for that question, Archana, and for that very honest answer as well, Preeti. I think you have kept it very simple and black and white with all your answers. So when you say something and you know that's like, could be very difficult, you have admitted it right away. I'm glad you did that. So just one more point that she said before we wrap. So which is your favorite place in India?
Oh, yeah. So my favorite place in India, again, I don't have something out of the mind because there are a lot of beautiful places that we've gone to. But if something that stands out, it is Avalanche in Ooty. I'm not sure if you've heard about it or if you've been there. Maybe it's because of the experience that we got, because it was raining the day that we went there, and the guide who took us also took us to a place which is not usually allowed for tourists to go, and we found a beautiful waterfall there and a 100-year-old tree. That's what the guide told us, and it was raining too at that time. So that too was on our anniversary, so that picture always stays in my mind. So if I have to pick one, I'd pick that moment. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, thank you so much, all of you, for joining us. And please do stay back so that we can write something. And I request Preeti also to stay back so that you could listen to us and share any feedback that you have or your appreciation for our writers here. Just for those who are watching on YouTube, thank you so much for joining us. And do check Preeti's blog, which is Infinite Footsteps Online. If you are someone who is really interested in traveling, then definitely, without any hesitation, you can click that. Your time will be really worth investing on reading that blog. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining. Take care.